Good day, fellow champions of inclusion. I'm Aaron, and this is the Inclusive Dad podcast, where we explore inclusion and make it practical. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me in exploring ways we can create a more inclusive world together. You are important, you matter, and you can make a difference. Today, my guest is Jeff Skoglund. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Why don't you just start us off by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Jeff Skoglund. Uh, Online, I go by Blind Outdoorsman, and I've just started sharing my journey of low vision and blindness with everybody as a blind person, sharing my everyday adventures, everyday activities that I do with my guide dog as a blind person, how I navigate my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. I haven't looked at your stuff on Instagram like a ton of it. Do you go fishing and stuff?
I do. Honestly, it's been a long time, but
Okay.
I grew up fishing and ice fishing, and I really want to get back into doing that.
Yeah, I was just curious how having low vision or being blind, how fishing would be.
Right. It doesn't help that I grew up in northern Minnesota and I'm, in metro Minnesota now, and I just don't know the lay of the land even when I had better eyesight.
Sure. Yeah, I live in southern Minnesota and I grew up every year. My family goes up to the same cabins since my dad was a kid. They've gone to the same ones up in Lake Vermilion.
Okay.
So I would go up there every year. That'd be like one time a year that I would fish, like, trolling or casting and stuff. And I just never really fished a lot until the last couple of years. I was going for a walk and I saw like fish in the it's called a lake, but it's not very big, more like a large pond probably in town, and just saw fish you could tell there was fish. So I just bought a cheap pole at Walmart and started just going over there and fishing. So I think last year I caught like 800 like panfish just
Wow.
out of the lake just for fun. And
Yeah.
I've been enjoying it. So yeah, couple of weekends ago, we were in Maple Grove and like there's lakes around here. So I kind of looked like if I had time, like where'd the best shore fishing be? I didn't actually fish, but I was like trying to like where can I go to maybe catch something? So I kind of look out, but I didn't actually do it. But yeah.
Right. Right.
Um, what is your definition of inclusion if you had to define it?
So I guess I don't really have a like definition, but in my mind, inclusion, so my whole philosophy kind of in life is leaning toward more humanism and humanistic ideas. So, I feel like everybody should have an equal chance to feel like they're living the best life that they can and not feel judged or treated differently because of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. That's
So
great.
like going in anywhere you go, if it's a grocery store or a social event or a school, you should feel like you're just part of the group instead of getting pushed off to the side because nobody knows how to deal with you as whatever disability you might have, or even if you don't have a disability.
Yeah, I love that. Do you maybe want to talk about, because I think your story is, now you can correct me, but you had vision and then you started losing your vision. Is that correct? Do you
Yeah,
maybe talk about?
I've got something called retinitis pigmentosa. I think in the United States, there's probably 100,000 people that have a version of what I have. So basically, in 2005, I was diagnosed because I went in to get the LASIK surgery because I didn't want my glasses anymore. And they told me I had retina problems. And that's where the story began and how I got diagnosed. I ended up going to a retina specialist. And then fast forward to 2010, and that's when I was legally blind. And being legally blind is having your field of view at 20% or less, and in your best eye, 20 over 200. And I just recently went to the eye doctor specialist to get everything checked out again and found out that my acuity in my left eye is 4 over 200. And that means basically what normal sighted people can see at 200 feet, you have to bring that up to 4 feet, and I'll also need ideal lighting conditions because contrast and lighting conditions make a big difference too. I could go outside and not even see my hand in front of my face. And then I'm just light perception in the right eye.
So yeah, I have a daughter. Her name's Cece. Cecilia, we call her Cece. She's 23 and she uses a wheelchair to get around, and she's legally blind as well. She had cataracts in both of her eyes when she was young, and we had them removed, and then the surgeries to put new lenses in did not go well once or twice. We just decided not to keep trying. So she's legally blind, but she can see stuff, which is interesting because I always thought like if somebody was legally blind, like they couldn't see, but that's not the case. That was interesting. Like learning that wasn't that was kind of an interesting learning curve for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I have a son that's 23 too. So
Okay.
yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, I know when I listened to you on the other podcast, you were doing some videos on like home maintenance stuff. Do you
yes,
want to maybe talk a little bit about those videos and how that, like what you're trying to do with those videos that you do?
yeah. So like that's just part of everyday life for everybody, especially if you're a homeowner. You got to know how to change your furnace filter or like like your whole house water filter or whatever. And I just try to make videos like that to just kind of show. I mean, everybody's system is different, but I'm just trying to show that you don't be afraid to try to do it, especially if you're challenged with, for me, is visually challenged. I think it's important for everybody to know how to shut their water off if there's a problem, or, the main breaker on their electrical panel is all kind of basic stuff, but, everybody has to know their own limits. I don't want somebody to do something just because Jeff said like that they could. So, um, I'm just trying to take little snapshots on how I do it without trying to be a lecture about it. It's just me doing it. Like I did a video on just making my French press coffee the other day. Grinding my coffee down and just the steps that I take, and you know, it's mostly tactile for a lot of things, even though I can see a little bit.
And so let's say like you're sitting upstairs watching TV, your TV like goes out and you think it's the breaker. Like how do you get to your breaker and know which one it is?
Yeah, typically I mean, if it's the main breaker, it's just the main breaker. So I guess if in an emergency, I just throw everything off, and it's usually the
That's
top
true.
one. But uh, that would be, yeah, I'd probably have to do like a Be My Eyes thing with my meta glasses or my phone, or try to trust taking a picture with an AI trying to like tell me which breaker it is, or it'd be just like trial and error, like which one is it, which one is it. But if I'm doing a project, it'd be a lot easier for me to kind of plan ahead and do that.
I know when we have those label makers, are there like label makers for like Braille that you could or something you could put on there to
Well, I'm glad you asked that because um, I just discovered I've been blind for 15 years and I don't know why I'm just discovering it, but every day I'm learning something new, and it's called. There's a couple different labeling systems that I was looking into, but I went with a system called Way Around, and what that is, I wish I had one handy here, but it's a sticker very similar to like your credit cards that you tap on when you tap to pay. So the sticker, I can put it on whatever I want and program it to say whatever I want. So I open the app up on my phone. I tap my garlic bottle and it'll tell me garlic. And I can also add different things like when I filled it or what kind of garlic it is, or if it's for something easy, like if it's a tuna helper or something, I can like also record how to cook it if like, so I don't have to get my other tools out or expiration dates on things in the fridge or anything like that. Like a tote in the garage, I can label everything that's in the tote. It's helpful for sighted people too. They could just my wife can put the app on her phone and she can get the same information by you know just tapping this little sticker.
Yeah, actually, once you said that, I interviewed a lady who she's blind and she does like stuff in the kitchen, so she talks a lot about different, like, tools for the kitchen if you're blind, and then I think I must ask her a similar thing about, like, labels or something. I think she yeah, something similar to that where, like, something you
Right.
scan or tap, and it kinda tells you what it is or something.
Yeah, I know the Blind Kitchen, maybe that's who you interviewed?
Yep, that's the one, yep.
Okay, yeah, she talks about the pen friend, and I was looking into that also, but I thought this one would be easier for my thing, so I don't have to always have that pen in my hand or try to find the label, and I'm
Gotcha.
sure it's pretty easy too, but there's
So now you're gonna go all around the house and stick labels on
gonna be
stuff?
stickers everywhere. You can sew buttons on your clothes, so you can describe your clothes, and,
Okay.
there's magnet ones and, just different things for different applications. So it seems like it's not exactly super cheap, but it solves a problem, and I think it's worth it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we started recording, you had mentioned something that happened to you last week or over the weekend and how that, like, how being in person or not having your sight kind of maybe that makes it a different experience.
It was actually just last Friday here that, um, I had a heart attack. So I was just working out in the yard and had these symptoms that I could probably explain away with other things that are going on with the headache and my vision, being out in the bright light, the backache, being hunched over in the garden, uh, the feeling that I've got acid indigested, like heartburn, all happening at the same time was a little weird though. And I went in, and my wife was also a ER nurse, and she was working at the time, and I was texting her. I'm like, "Here's what's going on." She said, "You better call 911." So I called 911, and everything just got kind of crazy nuts. Like within a minute, the policemen were there, and then the fire truck was there, and then the paramedics were there. I had I had the whole crew there. The first thing I did when the police came in, I said, "I'm blind, just so you guys know that you know I can't see you. If you're gonna, you just need to explain things a little bit better to me." And they were all very very helpful after that, and that made things a lot easier. Uh, Ended up having the ambulance ride to the hospital, and again, they were very helpful and reminding everybody that I was blind. So they took a little extra time, I think, to explain things to me, and I'm grateful that the whole crew there from start to finish. I can't think of one example where they didn't like ask me, "How can I help you?" Like being blind, like what do you need for me to to like in the hospital, like how do I get you to the bathroom, for example? You're like, what do you need from me? Or towards the end, when I was trying to, you had to walk around the floor a few times, like, how do you want to do? How do we do this? Because not every day they have a blind person that they have to deal with, and I guess they actually had a sign on my door saying that I was blind or low vision person here, so maybe that helped too, as well. But I didn't feel excluded from anything. I felt like I think if they could have just like tried to explain everything and talk over my head and take all that control away from me and just talk to my wife or whatever. But they were talking to me the whole time, and I thought that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting because I've been with my daughter. My daughter has seizures, so recently she had a grand mal, and I had to ride in the ambulance with her. So I'm just trying to think of what, like, different things where it would be. If you were by yourself and you were blind, like how that experience would be.
Right, like I was able to walk to the ambulance.
Okay.
So like she asked me like what do you want me to hold your hand? I said, yeah, you can hold my hand, my elbow or whatever, and walk me to the ambulance. And then she just explained, here's what the opening looks like. You're going to have a step, and it's about, two steps in front of you, and it's, you know, 12 inches up from the road pavement or whatever. And she said, it's a pretty tall roof. You probably don't need to worry about your head, but she's just explaining like, and then the gurney is going to be right in front of you, and you're going to have to turn around. And she was really good at explaining what I needed to do to, sit down safely and get in the rig safely.
Yeah, that now you say that makes sense because yeah, my daughter. Yeah, I think they put her on the gurney outside of the ambulance and then put her in on that. But then I got inside and yeah, it's not too big. So yeah, if I would be blind, they would have had to do a lot of explaining on how to get around stuff and where to sit and stuff. So oh, that's awesome. They were able to help you in that way. That's
Yeah,
great.
I don't know if I got lucky with a good crew or what, but I'm pretty grateful that I did.
Yeah. So what did they end up doing then when you had to walk around? Did they have somebody go with you or kind of told you to hold
Um,
on to the side or what did
uh, uh,
you
what do you mean?
like when you had to walk around the hall, did they have somebody kind of walk with you and
Oh yeah, there was one of the nurse's aides. He's like, What do you need me to do?" I said, "You just walk, and I'll just have my hand on your shoulder or something. And if I need to move around, uh, I'll just use you as my guide instead of my guide dog or my cane."
yeah.
And he
Oh,
and he was really
what?
good too, because there's I don't know if I'm assuming that this floor was like dedicated to other cardiac people. So there's other people like doing the walk, and he's like, "We're coming up to somebody else, and let's just step to the side and let them pass first."
Yeah. You mentioned your guide dog. Was your guide, I mean, in those situation, can you bring your guide dog with you, like in the
You,
ambulance in the
you
hospital, or
can
how does that work?
you can, but I chose to leave her at home because honestly, somebody else is guiding me, and she'd just be in the way, and that would make her way more anxious than she needs to be. Um, she was anxious. She's so used to being with me everywhere I go that she gets anxious anyway when I do leave her home for whatever reason. Um, but my wife did bring her in one night just for a little visit, and that seemed to help her because I guess she walks around the house looking for me.
Yeah, well, and then I'm sure when you're not around, it's different and she's trying to figure out what she's supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If I brought her there, otherwise she'd be just like, "What do they do?" I mean, I don't even know what the protocol would be for her not being in the way and people coming and going all the time. Like when they wheel you away, your whole bed, you're gone for a while. What do you do? So I just left her at home.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't know the answers to that, but I was just thinking because I know I have helped some like parents with their kid for an IEP in school, and some of them have like service dogs, and trying to get like a service dog into a school is kind of a chore. I'm just curious, like how hospitals are, if they're any more flexible, or like you're saying, it is complicated, how that works.
Well, it was
I
the
don't know.
weekend, and I think that's a little easier for maybe um, less strictness, but they didn't have a problem. They said she's a service dog. Yeah, I'd bring her in.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
that's cool. So yeah, what does your service dog help you with? It just helps you, she able to help you like navigate, or how does
Yeah, I
she
mean,
help you?
she, I give her the commands to, when I get her in her harness, I can tell her, okay, forward and then forward left, left, right, find the curb, find the elevator button, find the escalator. So she helps me find all that stuff. If I'm traveling by myself, if I'm, and this is most of life right now for me, I go out with my wife, and I just say follow. So, I don't have to use my cane or use a actually hold on to my wife's shoulder or arm or something because hold my hand up all the time, that just gets to be annoying after a while. So she
If you,
helps.
yeah,
Yeah, she
if you tell her to help you like find the elevator button, like what does she do? Brings you like right up to the button and
in,
you just re
in in theory, I mean, she's not perfect. She's a dog, and
okay.
she doesn't get a lot of practice on it. So
Yeah.
um, as time goes by and we use it less, she's probably uh, you know a little rusty on it. Or if we're crossing the road, the crosswalk, she can find the crosswalk buttons for me. Um, and then she's trained to know when it's safe. Like even though the green light is green, uh, and we can go, she's trained to refuse my command if it's not safe. If she says it's not safe, I need to trust her on that instead of
Like,
like forcing her to go out there.
yeah. Wow. That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. You know, they're trained for a good 2 years before
Yeah.
I even get them. And then, yeah, I went through a place called Occupaz in Wisconsin,
Okay.
Madison, Wisconsin,
Sure.
and their program comes to you. So, like when I got her 5 years ago now, she was I was living in an apartment, so they just came to my apartment in Plymouth, and we worked every single day for 2 to 3 weeks until I was ready. Like it was more training for me on how to handle my dog, you know, and then for her to get used to me and see if we could work together. And but we did it right out of my home and in my neighborhood, and a lot of places you go on campus to their campus and you're gone for 3 weeks or a month or whatever their program is. And
That's,
then,
I mean, that's cool
yeah,
that
then,
she's able to tell you about the traffic and stuff.
yeah, I mean, she doesn't want to get run over either. So,
That's true. That's true. That's true.
right. But, finding the curve, um, she's supposed to stop if there's no lights and I'm just crossing the road on the sidewalk, she stops when the intersection comes. And then I tell her, okay, you know, I, it's my job to determine too, like with sound and what's going on to say, okay, forward, and then we get to the next one and you just repeat.
Have you ever had a place where you tried to go in and they didn't really want your service dog in there? Have you had any trouble going into places with your dog?
Yes, mostly I haven't had any problem anywhere, and I've traveled internationally with her too, and the only place was Sedona, Arizona, and I don't know if it's because too many people are faking their service dogs, or the emotional service dogs get involved and cause problems. But it was like just about every place we went in, we're going to have to get my manager to approve that. I'm like, okay, go ahead, but I'm coming in anyway. you know, you have to let me in. I mean, unless there's a reason for like her misbehaving. You know, I we did a train tour and they made me sign away with my credit card. Like, if anything happens, we can charge your credit card now. Like, I don't think that's a thing that they're supposed to be able to do. I signed it anyway because I didn't want to cause a scene. But
Yeah, it is interesting. Maybe if a lot of places, yeah, in Sedona were doing that, they must have something must have happened or happens frequently where they
yeah,
just
almost everywhere else. But you can ask any guide dog handler, and they're going to run into something like that where you know
that's one of
people
those
don't like the dogs.
yeah, it's one of those situations like I mean the buildings are supposed to be ADA compliant and be able for wheelchairs to get in, but the law was however many years ago. But I mean, my daughter has a wheelchair, and there's still places we go that, or you're going for a walk, there's still not curb cuts in places. So I mean, it's just because there's a law there that says it's supposed to work this way, that doesn't mean it always works that way.
Right. Yep. And that's the whole planning. Like they should be planning from the beginning, from the start. It's easier for everybody if you could just get that in the system to begin with. And there's no retrofitting, and it's actually makes everybody's life easier, even if you don't have a disability. In most cases, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it sounds so easy and simple to me and you and other people. It just does why it doesn't happen. I'm not exactly sure.
It seems to me that it'd be cheaper in the long run too for cities and businesses and states to implement this thing ahead
Yeah,
of
and
time.
like you said, it also benefits other people if you have I mean, a mother with a stroller, older people with a walker, or just, it just makes it easier for lots of people. So let's just do it and be done with it. So, what is one tip you could share to help the listeners be more inclusive today? So just something anybody can start doing today to be more inclusive.
I say I'm going to bring my humanist stuff into this here and just say, just make the world a better place. Be a good person. You know, like if you don't want to be treated that way, that you're like treat everybody the way you'd want to be treated. How do you want your kids to be treated? How would you treat your mom? You know, you know. I think if you think of that and know that we're all just human, you know, just treat us as human. We all want to be treated that way.
If there's one thing you hope listeners take away from your story, what would it be?
For my story in general, I just want to say that for one thing, if you've got a story to tell, somebody else needs to hear it. It doesn't matter if you think it's big or small, or if you think it's too small to tell. I thought my story was too small and insignificant, and maybe it is compared to a lot of things. But you know, I think every day somebody needs to hear what I have to say. You never know when it's that just that one person. You know, so that's one thing I want to say, and just that me being blind, very low vision, doesn't mean that I can't do anything. I can do some things better than you, or I should say sighted people, because I think a lot of people think that being blind, you can't do anything and you're kind of stuck there. But life isn't over. It's actually just kind of beginning again since my diagnosis. I think a lot of doors have opened, and I just had to learn how to, and I'm still doing this, learning how to do it differently, learning how to navigate that drought. You know, like I can still do a lot of the outdoor things that I did in the past. I just had to learn how to do it differently, and that's just everyday living is you figure it out.
Yeah, I love that. How are like do you go for walks or like how are trails or different parks in Minnesota? Are they pretty accessible for somebody with low vision or blind?
Um, to be honest, that's something I'm trying to sort of relearn how to do. I'm trying to like learn how to hike again with maybe a different kind of a white cane. Trying to teach my guide dog. You know, they don't. I don't really think they train how guide dogs how to like hike in the woods. So I'm trying to do that because she sees the trail how she wants to see it in that situation, and she'll go that way. She doesn't. If says it's clear for her, it's clear for her, but it might not be clear for me. So, and then you know, like she just kind of turns into a dog anyway because she just wants to, you know, sniff around and stop and take breaks all the time.
Yeah, so is she trained to like let's say in this like a sidewalk is like, sometimes there's tree roots and it kind of kicks the sidewalk up, so there's a maybe a tripping hazard. Is she
Yeah,
does
she's
she
supposed to. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, she's trained to guide me if even if it's a big crack or you know how the different concrete slabs are positioned. You know, walk around that, or if there's a yeah like a big branch that she happens to see, she'll she'll guide me around that or guide me around people.
Yeah, what yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, if you're on like a non-paved path in the woods, there could be lots of stuff. Yeah, for her, she can get over, but for you, you could trip on a root or
Yeah.
a little
Uh,
bump or something in the ground.
it's a little harder when she's not that great at overhead things. You know, like for example, if we're on a sidewalk and I don't know, there's a truck or probably a truck with maybe a ladder on it. The truck might not be in the sidewalk, but the ladder might be,
Sure.
and it
Yep.
might not be an issue for most people. But you know, I'm walking along with my dog, and last thing I want to do is hit my head on that ladder. So people just don't. They're not trying to do it. They're just not aware that that could be a problem.
Yeah, that we've had go for walks too, where like the people don't trim their trees, and if we've gone on that route enough, I bring my like clippers with and just chop a branch off because like if I have to duck or like bend over all the way, like that's not cool either. So that would
Right,
be
yeah.
not good.
Especially if it's a route that you're doing all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to fix it then, right?
yeah. Yeah, I did that once or twice. You feel kind of weird trimming somebody's branch, but I'm like, I get sick of like having to go off the side or, duck down or move it for my daughter. If my daughter is sitting in a wheelchair has to like move her out of the way, we need to take care of it. So it's
Right.
too low.
Yeah.
Where's the best place for people to connect with you?
I can be, you can email me. I'm at my name, Jeff, Jeff, at blindoutdoorsman.com. It's all one word, Blind Outdoorsman. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on YouTube. All the same, all the same, username, Blind
Sure.
Outdoorsman.
Awesome. I'll make sure I put all that stuff in the show notes. So you ready for the last question?
I'm ready.
I'm holding up a can of Spam lunch meat. Do you like Spam? Yes or no?
I do like it. Yes.
That was quick.
Minnesota, we grew up with that.
True. Yeah, I live down near.
Grandma used to make it all the time. I guess I don't have it as much now.
Yeah. Well, I live down near Austin, Minnesota, where they make Spam and where the Spam Museum's located. So I've been asking all my guests just as a fun question, just to see the reactions. It's usually pretty fast or it's usually fast, yes or no. There's usually not a lot of like thinking about it.
Right? It's kind of unique. Is you either like it or you don't.
Yep,
You know, big in Hawaii, right?
it is. It is big. Yeah, it is. That comes up a lot too, where that's where they had it for the first time is Hawaii. Because yeah, it's big
Yeah,
there.
it's weird going to the McDonald's in Hawaii and you can get you can get spam there.
My girlfriend went there a couple years ago, and she sent me a picture from Walmart. They had like a pallet of Spam in the Walmart, and I'm like, we don't even have pallets of Spam in our Walmart in Austin where they make it. So it's good. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
To the, to those listening, thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. It is truly an honor. Please join the podcast newsletter by clicking on the link in the episode description to keep up with the latest episodes. Together, we can make the world more inclusive. Until next time, stay empowered and be a champion for inclusion.